Good day, Canada. Good afternoon, Asia. It's Thursday, 12 p.m. here in Toronto, and it's time for our regular webinar on immigration to Canada. My name is Alex Davidson, and today we have gathered to talk about self-employed immigration. Agenda for today. Few quick words about us, and then straight to the business. Introduction to self-employed category. What it is, why it is important to consider this program. Who could apply? Well, speaks for itself. That is essentially who could participate in this program. I'm sure many listeners today will find this program interesting. Points grid and how to pass. I will give you real examples and real points calculation. No mystery, actual score so that you could count it yourself. How to apply, what you should note and how to prepare for an application. Why apply now? I don't say such things often, but this program requires attention and requires it now. I will show you today why. Contacts, essentially that's contact information. Follow up, direct link to us, ask questions, have live conversations with us all, mostly welcome. About us. Just a quick info for those who have joined our auditorium today only. We are Canadians, legal immigration company, 3 offices, Toronto, Markham, New York, United States. All licensed, all professional. I believe in one idiom. Forewarned is forearmed. If you have information, that's all you basically need to make your dreams come true. And speaking in immigration terms, if you understand how programs work and where to seek for assistance, it's about 50% of success. Another 50% is basically your credentials, your documents. In Asia, in my opinion, you have the last 50%. All is good with credentials, with a background with work experience, but almost nothing with the first half. That's why so many visas are denied. People simply do not understand where to look for help and how to benefit from immigration initiatives offered by Canada. We are about to fill this gap today. So, we're talking about one of the most underrated Canadian immigration programs, the Federal Self-Employed Immigration category. Designed for individuals who work on their own, this program combines some unique features most applicants are absolutely unaware of. We'll fill this gap and provide detailed information about this program, of course, today. One of the most exciting things about the self-employed immigration program is that it still works under the old immigration requirements. A few webinars ago, I told you how starting 2008, we have been witnessing numerous reforms, changes, and improvements to almost all Canadian immigration programs. Federal Skilled Worker Program received new points grid, higher language requirements, application caps, eligible occupations came and went every year. Opportunities for temporary foreign workers have been severely limited by introducing and then multiplying LMO, now called LMIA, processing fees, new strict eligibility criteria for Canadian employers, and many, many more. Parental sponsorship paused for 2 years, then resumed with higher requirements and strict quota. Federal investor program stalled and has been finally cancelled, as well as federal entrepreneur business program. Once affordable immigration programs for Quebec now require good French to apply. Express entry system is in place since 2015 for everyone willing to apply under the most popular programs. Now, the only immigration program that is still working exactly the same way it worked back in 2000s is the federal self-employed immigration category. So it's kind of time machine today. Our webinar is about old, classic program which most of you do not even remember. Oh yes, our team is old. So, we'll touch upon the most significant benefits of this program. The most important question all of you may be asking now is who's eligible? Basically, any person who has been working in a designated occupation for self, not for an employer, can find him or herself eligible under the self-employed program. All occupations in art, culture, recreation, and sport are eligible under the self-employed category. Examples are authors, journalists, translators, musicians, dancers, composers, artists, photographers, athletes, coaches, sound engineers, videographers, and many more. Self-employed farmers are specifically mentioned as eligible under the program, given that a candidate has recent relevant farm management experience of 2 years or more. One important thing about this program is that it does not require to apply through the express entry system and to wait for an invitation to arrive. Any eligible candidate can apply at any time. You may ask yourself, what are the language requirements of this program? Unbelievably, they are rather low. This may sound impossible, but it's still the law. There is no minimum language requirement for the self-employed program. Instead, an applicant must reach the pass mark based on the program points grid. And in a few minutes, we'll get to this topic and see if the pass mark can be easily reached or not. So, what does it mean to be self-employed? The immigration law gives us a clear answer to this question. To make a long story short, within the scope of this program, self-employed is an individual who has at least 2 years of self-employment experience within the last 5 years in one of the eligible occupation or in farm management. The main difference between employment and self-employed person is not hired by anyone or a company, but instead works for him or herself. Generally, such a person is registered as a sole proprietor and he or she does accounting and taxes for him or for herself. It's just a general understanding, right? It could be different from case to case. Under the self-employed immigration program, a candidate must earn living by self-employment. For example, everyday work, self-employed work, must be a primary source of his or her income. Pretty clear. Now, here we come to the points grid. It's as simple as it was back in 2002. Yeah, over 13 years ago. Oh, among other things, it means that the program is affordable for candidates from 21 to 49 years of age, not just for young people 35 and under, as in most immigrants. Here's the general points grid of self-employed immigration program. You see that an absolute candidate might score 10 for his or her age, 25 points for education, 24 points max for English and French languages combined, 35 for work experience, and 6 for adaptability as max, which in this case, adaptability might simply mean that having relatives in Canada, previous work or study in Canada, spouse's education in Canada, or even an exploratory trip to Canada would qualify. All 5 evaluated factors give us an absolute max of 100 points. 100. So what's the pass mark? Here we go. 35. 35 out of 100. Sounds absolutely impossible, right? 35 is the score a candidate may reach by only having sufficient self-employment experience and nothing else, absolutely nothing else, with all other factors as zero. In real life, things are a little bit different, of course, right? But let's see how an average candidate would perform against such a points grid. Imagine that you are applying under the federal self-employed immigration category today. What would your score be? If you are over 20 years but not yet turned 50, you will be granted 10 points for age factor. So let's take just general that you got 10 for age. If you studied for at least 13 years in total, including 1 year of studies after graduating from high school, you will receive 15 points for education. Put it simple, you were going to school and afterwards you went to a college for just 1 year, for example. You're already getting 15 points for that. Um, Take IELTS test and see your score. If your IELTS is around 4, yes, just 4, you will be given 8 points for English proficiency. If you meet the basic eligibility criteria of a self-employed person, as defined by immigration legislation, means, for example, you have 2 years of self-employment experience in the last 5 years, and that's the minimum, you would receive 20 points for it. And here's the cherry on the top. If your spouse also completed a 1 year post-secondary program, nothing more, you will be given 3 extra points. So your total is, if you're not good with math, 56. That's way over the pass mark. And let's be honest, we were not talking about an average candidate right now. We were taking absolute minimum. Still, with that minimum, you're getting 56 out of 35 required. Sounds too good to be true? Well, there are 2 more conditions to mention. First is that the candidate must demonstrate ability and willingness to become self-employed in Canada after becoming a permanent resident. Second, the candidate must be able to contribute to a specific area of cultural activities. In other words, it's not that terrible as it sounds, right? An artist, for example, must have an intention to be an artist in Canada, contributing to visual arts. Clothing designer must not change his or her professional occupation and still be a clothing designer in Canada. Similarly, a farmer is expected to run a farm in Canada as well. Each case is reviewed individually. It's up to an officer to make a decision regarding applicant's ability to become a well-established self-employed person in Canada. But again, demonstrate willingness to become self-employed in Canada. That's the whole catch. So how to apply? Now let's briefly touch the application process. Again, compared to other immigration programs available today, self-employed category offers something special. The application process is quite straightforward. It does not involve express entry, receiving an invitation or nomination certificate, squeezing an application intake cap, and so on. No, nothing of that is required. Any applicant willing to apply can gather documents, prepare and submit an application directly to CIC. You know, I like this picture on the slide, and basically because it represents what you should have with the right immigration team. Win no matter how dice are rolled. Choose your partners for the immigration journey properly and prepare for success. Now, the last but not least, While we were talking about points grid of the federal self-employed category, I mentioned points awarded for language proficiency. Even moderate English will yield you 8 points for this factor. By speaking about moderate English, I mean something around IELTS 4. But wait, we just found out that an average candidate can score 56 points. That's already more than 20 points over the pass mark. So do we still need 8 points for the language? Is it possible to bypass the language test? The answer is yes. IELTS is not required to apply under the federal self-employed program, given that you score sufficient points for other factors. In the example we discussed a few minutes ago, a candidate without IELTS would receive 48 points, which is still sufficient enough to qualify under this program. Now, good news. As you all know, Canadian immigration policies currently undergo numerous important changes. New programs are implemented, new requirements are introduced, stricter eligibility criteria is created. There is no immigration program in Canada that remained untouched since 2000s, except for this only, federal self-employed program. Clear enough, given that it is still operated under the requirements of early 2000s, it will be inevitably redesigned anytime soon. I'm not a magician. We do not know when new requirements will be, and we don't even know if the self-employed program will continue to exist in the future. Right now, it is open, and what we know for sure is that the program, for some strange reason, is fully functioning today. Is the real chance to immigrate to Canada for anyone meeting today the simple eligibility criteria of 2000s. Taking into account current immigration trends, one must not be confident that this opportunity will be available for a long time to come. If you want to apply, so the message is pretty simple. Want to apply? Apply now. The sooner you do that, the better your chances are. Pretty straightforward. So what you should do next, say you're looking to apply and ready to immigrate. I always recommend speaking to your immigration team to find out how proficient and experienced they are, if they have licenses and understand how programs work, whether they give you straight answers to your questions and address your concerns, or simply avoid direct communication. Of course, we strongly encourage anyone to come and talk to us directly. We leave contacts and open doors for everyone looking for an advice and professional help. Please feel free emailing any questions and rest assured that either me, myself, or one of our team members will respond to your inquiry. If you're from Bangladesh, you may come straight to Visa Center team in Dhaka. They are knowledgeable, they're smart, and work with direct partnership with us. Unfortunately, we don't have preferred partners in India, Nepal, Pakistan, so at least for now. You may address your questions or work with us directly in that case. I know that many of you are asking for local partners in those countries, uh, but unless sure of their skills and proficiencies, such as we're sure about proficiency and skills of our team in Bangladesh, we would not recommend anyone. Our friends of Visa Center are skilled, are seasoned professionals and experts whom we trust and enjoy our work. Again, if you're from Bangladesh, feel free coming to them. We also have a YouTube channel where you may find recordings of previous webinars in case you missed them. You may find lots of programs, ideas, guidelines there, absolutely free of charge. I always ask for only one thing after the webinar. Spread a word, subscribe, tell your friends, family on what we're doing, and follow our weekly webinars. We dedicate lots and lots of efforts, our time, and our resources to provide you with free consultations and share these free webinars. On average, we spend more than 10 hours a week to prepare, to select topic, and to create information for it. So please give us your like, give us +1 on Google+. We work for you, and it's always a pleasure to see that you help us too. Without your support, it will be difficult to get rid of fake consultants and crooks who unfortunately are so widespread in Asia. Thank you so much for being with me today. Next time, we will continue talking about provincial immigration and we'll discuss Saskatchewan nominee program. As always, we'll discuss benefits, pros and cons, and of course, how you may benefit from applying. Stay tuned with us, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and for now, thank you all and goodbye.